What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Reclaim Your Throne coming at you with another crazy video. But first, my goal is to hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. And you already know, Reclaim Your Throne. So guys, we have to break down this video. Today we are going to be talking about IR dating. Yes, that's right, interracial dating. So without further ado, I am going to show you a video of two women explaining why black men are dating out. Not just white women, but all women of different races. So let's get into it.
White women love black men because of the power dynamic, because white women have never had any power over men in their lives.
Okay. So she said that white women love black men because of the power dynamic, because they haven't had any power over men in their whole lives. I don't know what type of world that she's living in, but women have had the power over men, the ability to sexually coerce men since the beginning of time. All right. Women have always had that sexual power over men, where they will pretty much be able to get away with whatever they want and have men do whatever they want for them in exchange, or even for the hope of getting the draws. So right there, I have no clue what she's talking about. I guess she's talking about the quote-unquote patriarchy that has oppressed white women. Let me tell you something. Women have been living the greatest. Women have, like this, oh, I'm starting to live my best life. Women have been living the best lives of any human beings on this planet, okay? They've always lived better than men. They've always got to sit in AC and not go out and fight wars and not go out and build and work in coal mines. Now, obviously, there were some women who did have to do that, some lower class women. But if we're talking about wealthy white women, which I think is what she's talking about, that is just malarkey, okay? Wealthy white women have always had power, and they've had power over their men. That's why the men have become so beta-tized to this day, because they're trying to appease their women with all these liberal ideologies.
Because obviously all the white men in their lives have always had all the power over them. So white women have whiteness over black men. And
I mean, she just sounds like she has no idea what's going on. When a black man is dating a white woman, that black man has power over that woman, okay? She's going to do whatever he says. She's going to be more feminine and more submissive to that black man than she would a white man, okay? That is if her preference is white men. Now, if her or black men, if her preference is not black men, she'll treat everybody who she's dealing with pretty much the same. The only advantage that white women have over black men in a dating relationship sense is that they can fabricate some story and saying, oh, he took advantage of me, or even in a domestic violence situation, they will have the upper hand in that scenario. But that's not just white women, that's any woman. Black women have been calling the police on black men since the beginning of time. Now, rightfully so in a lot of cases, okay? I'm not going to say that some of these dudes did not deserve it, all right? But she's acting as if white women have an advantage over black women when it comes to calling them folks, the boys, 12, 5-0, to come deal with black men, okay? That's not true.
And obviously to be in any sort of like control feels good, especially when you're used to never being in control. White women feel safe with black men, not only because of the hypermasculinity that they believe.
So look at her leaning into stereotypes and talking about black men are hyper masculine. What does she mean by hyper masculine? Does she mean we're good at sports? Is she talking about genetic makeup? Is she talking about gang banging, hip hop? What does she consider as hyper masculine? Because I would not consider these hip hop artists who are busting a gun and these street thugs who sagging their pants and busting a gun in the streets as masculine. As a matter of fact, the way that they react to certain social situations in the hood would show that yes, they're reacting emotionally and they have more of a feminine disposition than masculine. So I really don't know what the hell she's talking about when she's saying this.
Black men exhibit, but because of the whiteness and power they hold over black men. This is why also white women can still be racist and be with black men and be like,
okay, now white women can still be racist and be with black men. Let me tell you something, okay? Anybody can be racist. Anybody can have prejudices. Anybody can discriminate against anybody. It's not just mutually exclusive to white women versus black men, okay? Because if you have ever hung around a lot of black people, we tend to have the ability to say whatever we want about any race and it not be deemed quote unquote racist. But if a white person was to say, hey, you know, it looks like a lot more black men are committing crimes these days and have been doing so for decades upon decades, then she will be deemed racist, or she will be considered racist. If a white woman is conservative politically, then she will be considered racist, even if she is dating a black man. So this is the this is the thought process from a lot of these thoughts who can't really process their thoughts and the thoughts of black men. See what I did there?
conservative white women will be like married to a black man. And this is why white women love their black sons and hate their black daughters. Black sons.
Okay, this is just nutso. This is just nutso. Any interracial relationship that I have seen, the white women love their daughters. They love having mixed kids. That's just from my observation, from my experience. So I honestly, I don't know what she's talking about.
Sons give you access to the patriarchy. They give you power, whereas black daughters don't.
All right, so we have the next video with a sister actually talking about how white men aren't marrying black women and it's their right. And I have said this time after time after time. White men, and not only just white men, no race of men except black men are really going to approach black women, okay? That's just the reality. Unless these black women are actively pursuing men of other races, which we know women usually do not go and approach men that they are interested in. They like to send elusive choosing signals. They like to send elusive choosing signals in order for the man to get the hint and approach them. Now, in all of my life, I have never seen a white man cold approach a black woman. Okay, I've never seen it in my life, and I go to the clubs every weekend. I be in the strip clubs. I've never seen it unless dude is throwing money on them. I have not seen it. Okay, so I think that she is definitely onto something when she's saying white men aren't marrying black women. Now, what I will say though is that when white men do marry black women and when black women do marry white men, they have a higher success rate than when black men marry white women. So I will give them something there. But all in all, I'm sorry to all the sisters, the divestors and whatnot, but men of other races just aren't checking for y'all like that. And here's why.
Sis, white men probably aren't going to marry you, and that's okay. I mean, it seems like when you go online right now, you see all these swirl and interracial channels, which nothing wrong with that. But I think sometimes the issue is that it can start to promote this fantasy life as if that's the ideal relationship, and as if.
And yes, she is right. It does promote a fantasy life, and not because, oh, it's the ideal relationship or it's not the ideal relationship. The reality is a black woman getting a white man pretty much is a fantasy, unless she's in like a super high class or whatnot, or the white man is very low class. Like I said, white men just aren't checking for sisters like that. Now, in the black community, obviously black men love sisters, but when black men go to college and get educated, you see that a third of them are actually dating out. Okay, so what can we say here? The reality is the men of other races just are not approaching sisters. They're not checking for sisters. They're not swiping right on Tinder. All of the data points to that. So
That that's the majority of relationships today. And in reality, when you look at the U.S. Census Bureau and what's actually going on, it's not even remotely true. And let me also.
So she puts up a stat from the U.S. Census Bureau that says less than 1% of married white, Asian, and Hispanic men in America have a black wife, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. So that covered every race. That covered every race. Less than 1%. It's a fantasy. It's an outlier. It's improbable. But yet you have sisters online telling other black women to, hey, go get you a white man. How? How? Even if you approached him, he would probably reject you. Unless you're like very, very attractive. But we all know that, unfortunately, it doesn't bring me joy to say this, but at least, and this is an old stat, 75% of the women in the community are overweight. So, you know, we all know that white men, if you look at the Eurocentric standard of beauty, they like skinny women, okay? And now they've kind of, started to enjoy a little more ass. But historically, and even from personal observation, white men like skinnier women. And if you're a sister and you're not in shape, which is 75% of them, your ass out of luck.
Also clarify this. Sexual access is not marital access. Just because a guy wants to have sex with you, or maybe will even date you for a couple of weeks or months or years, doesn't mean he sees you as wife material.
Absolutely. I mean, she's absolutely right here. This woman is very intelligent and she's spitting bars. When we talk about the fetishization of black men and black women and all this kind of stuff, yes, that is a factor in dating. But the reality is, even if you come across white women who say, oh, I only deal with black men, you can call that fetishizing if you want. But once they get with those black men, they really do love them. Like, they really be loving them like that. Now, what the brothers do with that, that's a whole nother thing. We can look at the statistics for those. And usually, when it comes to having children, almost 90% of those end up single mother households. And I mean, you can say whatever you want. You know, there have been stereotypes to say that black men are deadbeats, but that has not stopped the women from continuing to chase black men. All right. So even knowing, well, most women don't know these stats, but even, understanding and maybe having personal experience with this, the statistics show that when black men have children with white women, more than likely the relationship is going to fail and that woman is going to end up a single mother. But that woman will be imprinted by that black man and she will not want to go back to another race. What is it? What is the saying? How does the saying go? Oh yeah, once you go black, you never go back.
Now, why is the rate so low despite the fact interracial marriage has been legal for decades now? I mean, there's a couple of reasons for this, but I think one of it is quite simple.
Yeah, the simple answer is men of other races are not attracted to black women. Now you can blame a lot of this on the media. You can blame it on the Eurocentric beauty standard. You can blame it on all these things. But the reality is, when we actually take a look at social media and in videos from people's personal experience, the sisters are not very much representing themselves well. Not only with the way that they behave, but with the way that they talk, with the way that they speak about men, with the way that they speak as if men are some utility that they can use, turn on and turn off, okay? Get the bag from him, get the bag, sis, run, all this kind of stuff, drug him, rob him, like Cardi B said. So White men take notice of that. They take notes, and they are used to more feminine women. They are used to more pleasant women. And I'm not saying that there aren't feminine, pleasant black women out there. What I am saying, though, is it is very hard to find. And with the statistics that we see when it comes to BMI, your body mass index, we see a lot of overweight women, and overweight women, they used to be really nice. They used to overcompensate with personality because they knew they weren't as attractive. But nowadays, black women who are overweight are pretty much out of order, and they have the same attitudes that a bad bitch would have when they're not a bad bitch.
A lot of men at the end of the day just want kids who look like them. I mean,
that's not it. That is not it. I mean, she's wrong, okay? She's wrong. She's got a lot of things right in this video, but she's wrong about this. It's not that, oh, they want kids that look like them. It's that they don't find you attractive. That's the bottom line. Now, I'm not saying this is every white man, okay? But I'm saying the majority do not find sisters attractive. Even the most attractive of our sisters, white men do not find them attractive. You can say whatever you want to say, but that's the reality.
It may be considered misogynist to say this, or it may be considered bad or racist to say this, but at the end of the day, a lot of guys out there simply want children who look like them. And then when you combine that with the fact that, as income and as class increases, people tend to be more race loyal, I think it's pretty clear. Not to mention the Great Replacement theory is a pretty popular ideology today. So again, there's a lot of men.
Is it popular online? Yes, but do most people even know about this theory? No. Okay.
Who are now doubling down on their race loyalty. There's a lot of guys today in general who are just strictly fed up with women in America. Why? Because they think they're aligned with feminism. You have a lot of white men who won't even date or marry their own white woman in America. They'd rather go to...
Now, this is true. This is true. There are some tendencies that American women have. Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Indian. I remember I was on the Overdose podcast, and there was this... he was a Muslim brother, and he was saying, oh, well, Muslim women, they don't do this, and they're not westernized. And really, my boy? Really?
Thailand than ever consider marrying any woman in America because they're just so tired of feminism. Don't believe me? Just look at the manosphere. The reason I want to say this is because I have no issue with interracial relationships, but more often I see women, especially black women, promoting interracial marriage as the best option when they don't know how to get along with their own men. And if you think that you who don't know how to get along with men within their own community are going to have an easy time going into another community and just finding the high value man, because let's just be honest, it's not like you women want, average guys. You all want the high value rich men. You have another thing coming. If the issue is you don't know how to get along with...
And you're going to have to share him too. You're going to have to share him too, especially if he's a Chad or a Brad. Okay? You're going to have to share him too.
With men, then you're going to run into that issue no matter what community you're trying to date or marry into. I really think a better strategy would be actually focusing on just being marriage material, focusing on the qualities that actually attract men. And then from there, you'll be able to find good men within your community or maybe even outside of the community. But I think it's really unhealthy when we just promote interracial marriage as like the best option and not actually...
It's as a matter of fact, it's not even an option for a lot of sisters. Most sisters, 99% of sisters, it's not even an option. It's not even something that you should get in your head, dream about, fantasize about. It's not going to happen. Okay? For a lot. Not saying that it's impossible, but what I am saying is it is not likely. It's not likely at all.
Deal with a lot of the issues that are impacting women.
All right, guys. So I hope you liked that video. I hope you liked that discussion. This one is, it was a very entertaining video because this woman, the last woman, she actually knew what she was talking about. Now, that first woman, I don't know what the hell she was talking about. She obviously doesn't understand relationship dynamics, especially when it comes to black men. I'll tell you this. the only time a black man is not doing whatever he wants in a relationship is when he is with a black woman, okay? Because you know that you can't get away with the certain things that you'll do in a interracial relationship. You know you won't be able to quote unquote get away with if you are dating a black woman. I will say that. So anyways, you already know what it is, man. It's your boy, Reclaim Your Throne. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Send your relationship question to the email down below with a screenshot of your Cash App. So I know you paying your tithes, man. Y'all need to be on your motherfucking DM with the BS. And you already know. Reclaim your throne. Reclaim your throne.